Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms, and I am joined here with superfan Riley Goldman and Jake Circus of the Jake Circus podcast and superfan Devin Circus, and this is the Bengals Jungle Talk draft preview episode. All right, so um, as most of you know, I'm not a big fan of the paralysis by analysis with the 100 mocks trying to say who we're going to take with our ninth pick. Um, but we do want to do a preview here and go over some of our thoughts. Let's hit the Bengal news. There's been a little bit of news in the last couple of weeks, so let's hit that real quick, and then we'll jump into the draft. Came out a couple days ago, that Hubbard had significant ankle surgery. So I don't know if that impacted how he was playing, if he played hurt, but he had significant ankle surgery. So he should be ready, though, from what I've read. Jake, did you hear is there going to be any delays, or will he be ready for camp?
No, I think it's all systems go. I think he's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. And then the best news I want to say, we don't want a lot of our players in the news. And if you've watched what's going on with Rice and his racing in Texas and all that, you know what? I'm just always happy whenever we're not in the news. This isn't the time of year you want to make headlines. I think the Chiefs should get used to the idea that Rice isn't going to be around for this season, dealing with legal issues and whatnot. I talked to somebody the other day and they thought that Rice he's going to get off. I said, this didn't
Well,
happen in Kansas City. No, there's going to be they'll probably
we'll
go on
see.
commissioner's exempt list going into the year. And
I mean, he's not gonna like. There's been players before that have been dealing with legal issues much worse than what Rashee Rice did that ended up playing the whole season. So we'll
we'll
see.
see
I
how it
mean,
plays out. But
it's too early. No, I do not expect him to. He might. Honestly, like at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he's at training camp in July.
we shall see.
Be a
Remember,
training camp, but he's going to get a 4 to 6 game suspension.
yeah, he's good. Yeah. There's going to be time missed. So, also, Mike Potts did the presser today because Bill Tobin passed away. So I don't know how that's going to impact the Bengals in terms of not having Duke around these last few days. Although I think their board is pretty much set. And but I just noticed, he's done the pressers the last couple of days, and we signed Logan Woodside. Probably a practice squad guy. I mean, I don't know. He's been on the team before. He's been on a few other teams, University of Toledo guy, but that was exciting. Like I said, I'm happy that that's the news we have. A Hubbard ankle surgery and signing Woodside.
How about
Well,
today's news?
Jake.
Jake Browning.
Jake Browning.
Yeah. So
The Ponzi scheme himself, Jake Browning.
the Ponzi.
And Mark, fun fact that the kids might know it from Twitter, but you mentioned Bill Tobin. Bill Tobin is the key figure in one of the greatest NFL draft moments of all time that spurned Mel Kiper into stardom. You know where I'm going?
No, go tell.
So it was, I just had to look it up to make sure I got the year right. It was 1989. ESPN was doing the draft, and the New York Jets drafted a guy by the defensive lineman by the name of Jeff Lageman.
Right.
And Mel Kiper on set when Lageman was drafted said something along the lines of, it's clear Bill Tobin has no idea how to do the NFL draft or what to do in the NFL draft. And they interviewed Tobin later, and his famous quote, and if you guys don't know this one, you got to look it up. It's very entertaining. Bill Tobin on the camera, on air, live on ESPN. Who the hell is Mel Kiper?
Right. Yes. I didn't realize that was Bill Tobin's quote.
That was Bill Tobin?
Yeah.
Yep,
See,
I had no idea.
We heard the quote, but yeah, who the hell is Mel Kiper Jr. anyway? And exactly. Yeah. No. So listen, it's and Lageman turned out to be a good player.
Yeah.
So, it just shows you, don't believe everything you see on ESPN. So, well, let's jump into the draft. Does anybody have any other news and notes they want to share?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, let's jump into the draft. That we talked about this before in our last episode, that what we did in free agency, kind of gave everybody a really good blueprint about what we're looking at. I really don't see us deviating. We're going to go O-line or defensive tackle in the first round. it's a deep draft on all lines. So I mean, I really wouldn't mind seeing Byron Murphy out of Texas if he's there. I mean, they've got him projected going around 12, but if he's there, I mean, I think that's a perfect fit for us.
I think he's the slam dunk. I looked today, his over under on DraftKings is 14. So
Yeah.
Vegas doesn't think he gets there. There really are no other defensive linemen in play at 18. A lot of the early mocks back in January had, and I'm pulling it up here, Johnny Newton, who's kind of a hybrid edge D line. I don't know where he truly lines up in the NFL. But it now feels like he's going to be in the 20s. I don't see him being the pick. Interesting fact I saw today, I think it was Joe Goodberry that posted it. The Bengals odds on drafting a quarterback today went from 1,100 to 400, plus 1,100 to plus 400 on first round cornerback draft. I don't know if that means a cornerback is going to slip. There's 3 to 4 really good cornerbacks that'll go in the first round. I don't see us taking a quarterback. I think it's going to be Byron Murphy or O-line.
Right.
And if we want to start getting into names, I just had that up. I had
Mims, you got Latham, you got
Mims is the one guy I do not want.
Okay, why is that?
There's nobody. So he's one of those with really low floor, really high ceiling. There's no body of work. The guy's played. I think he's only started 8 career games at Georgia. They say he can play guard or tackle. He's got all the tools in the world, but injuries, only played 8 games. That Jake and I were talking about the other day, and Jake made the counterpoint. Look, there's a lot of people that are really talented that go to schools like Alabama and Georgia, and they can't get on the field until their senior year because it's so stacked. I get it. I'm not a Mims guy. Guys that I listen to and like, anti-Mims. He could go anywhere from like 12 to 25, so he's definitely in play. And look, I think we've seen it in years past with Jackson Carman, Cordell Volston. The Bengals identify guys that they like specifically at O-line, and a lot of times it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But you've got the 2 big boys, Fashanu and Alt, that'll be long gone. I love the Oregon State guy, Fuaga, who most likely will be gone.
Yeah.
And then you've got like Mims and Latham. Those are probably the guys in play. There's a lot. You said it best, Mark, paralysis by analysis. And we're at the point now where we're dissecting combine scores and we're dissecting tape. JC Latham was a great lineman at Alabama. Penalties are higher than you'd like, but Jake and I talked about him the other day, and to Jake's point, who the hell cares? You never know what's going on there, and if there's a reason, if there's a stupid reason, I'd be real happy if they take JC Latham. My money would be on JC Latham or Byron Murphy if he's there.
Right. Yeah. No, I really hope Murphy. I mean, that's what I hope. But like I said, with the the over-under is 14. I've seen drafts where he's projected 12. I don't know that he's there for us, but we'll see. There's a lot of quarterbacks that are going to go early, which are going to eat up picks. That will help us.
And wide receivers.
Yeah, and wide receivers. So, yeah, so I mean, that's the thing about the draft. It's so fluid. It just, you just don't know. You just don't know.
The Bengals have really put themselves in a tough spot here because every board that I've seen, and I haven't done much draft prep, but I kind of know the top guys and know where each position in each round is weak and strong. If the Bengals don't come out with Newton or Murphy, if that's the direction they want to go, they don't have a day 1 nose tackle, like a day 1 3 tech for week 1.
Right.
Because down this line, is Chris Jenkins, Brandon Dorless the next nose interior lineman that are on everybody's board? I mean, there's a huge drop off between Newton, Murphy, and then everybody else in this position class. And this is a position they did not address like at all. They have Rankins and they have BJ Hill.
Right.
That's it. It's just they're incredibly weak up front. Obviously they expect to see big jumps from Miles Murphy, and hopefully they have 2 really good pass rushers along with Sam Hubbard, a healthy Sam Hubbard. But it's looking like no matter how this week goes, that for the fourth, fifth consecutive year since post Dunlap, post Gino, they're going to be incredibly thin up front on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely higher when it comes to second round OTs than I am second round DTs. So I definitely think Murphy or Newton round one. If not, we don't take DT until the third. I don't really have any nose tackles or defensive tackles that I even like in the second round. I mean, Braden Fisk tested really well at the combine, but the combine only does so much. I don't know if he's even a tackle in the NFL. He's kind of on the smaller side for that, but you know, it's fluid. Who knows who falls? Who knows if a tackle we expect to go top 10 falls for some reason? It's the draft. It's random.
Yeah. What about in the third, Jake?
Wait, Mark, can I
Yeah, go
Can I
ahead. Go
follow
for
up
it.
on something
Yeah.
Riley said? Sorry. You know, you made a good point, Riley. The O-line is deep, but I don't know if it's deep enough to get to the mid to bottom second round. I'm looking at it right now. There's a lot of guards up there. There's the center from Oregon. It really drops off after like a Tyler Guyton. The BYU guy is got a lot of good marks. He could be there. Jordan Morgan from Arizona, I think,
Yeah,
is
like
long
him.
gone by the time we pick in the second round. Look, the Bengals trade down more than they trade up, but if there's ever a year to take the 2 and the extra 3 and move up to the top of the second round, I'd love to see them move up for a Graham Burton, a Tyler Guyton, or a Kingsley Suamataia.
Right.
Yeah.
The one position, and Dad, you mentioned it about the DraftKings odds. I haven't really tweeted or done anything legit, but like looking at the Bengals roster, I am surprised at what I've seen with the lack of people talking about corner round one. I think it's the biggest need on the team for sure. And like I don't know if their needs and the pick they have is going to match up with this board, but like I look at guys like Kool-Aid, who probably is gone. Yes, gone. Kool-Aid.
No,
First round? No,
He's
No.
there.
he'll be there.
Kool-Aid's projected
Just
to 28.
Terry
not
Arnold's better.
like McKinstry, not a elite athlete, but he's intelligent. Just every time I was watching an Alabama game, he was making a play on the ball. Nate Wiggins is first round upside. Mike's the Michigan guy the Michigan guy, that name as I always forget how to pronounce. Sandra still.
Yeah.
He's old. Like he's really old. I think he's like gonna be 24 by the time the season starts. But
Small.
I don't care that he's small.
That's corner. What about the 2 Missouri guys, Jake?
Yeah, that's what I was getting to.
Right.
Well, there's only one. It's Rakestraw. Abrams
What
Drain
about
is a
Abrams
day.
Drain?
He's a late day 2 guy.
Oh, okay.
Rakestraw's first round potential. I think a team's gonna get convinced to take him. Maybe I'm biased, but the guy's like just checks all the boxes off the field, on the field. Top 50 traits, probably. Just doesn't have like elite college production, but he's inside of 22. He's quick, he's got good footwork. So I don't want the Bengals to be like, oh, we have this consensus second round corner that they reach for in the first round if there's a first round player. Because I've been on the train the last 2 years where I've agreed with them, where it's been there are first round players at the end of the first round that are still there, and they took them with Dax Hill and Miles Murphy, and we have yet to see that pay off. But when it does, hopefully it does, at least with one of them, still a chance that both end up being really good players. You look really, really smart. So if the Bengals maybe get a little frustrated and go away from that thought process, I know like they better get a first round player because now they're picking higher up, but it's kind of still the same process there where they're going to have guys that they want, that they know are going to be available. And then when someone falls that they didn't expect to be there, it's a tough decision for the 4 people that they have in their draft room.
Right. So
Von Lassiter from Georgia. He's a guy that could be there in the second round.
Yeah.
What position is he?
Kamari Lassiter, corner from Georgia.
yeah.
Oh, corner.
I mean,
He's young, isn't he? He's a baby,
Coming out
right?
as a junior, I can tell you.
He's projected as the 43rd overall ranked player. I mean, that doesn't mean anything when it comes to draft boards because guys go all over the place. But I mean,
I don't think
super
he's a
super
first
athletic.
round pick.
No, he's
He's not.
projected mid to
He's
late
projected mid-second.
He's 21.
I mean,
He won't turn 22 until January of next year.
What do you guys think about somebody like Michael Hall in like the third round if we don't wind up with Murphy in the first?
Who?
Waiting, taking offensive lineman first or second, corner first or second, and then taking Michael Hall from Ohio State in the defensive tackle in the third.
I mean, my dad's not here to take this pick because he watched a lot more of Ohio State this year than I did. But watching him the last couple of years, he's very good. He did not produce the way he should have. And I don't know if that was an Ohio State coaching scheme, because I've also questioned their coaching for the last couple of years, or if it's just that he did not produce. But I don't know. I mean, there's other guys that I see that are projected as lower ranked than he is that I think we should take first, like Rook or from Clemson. I don't know how to say his last name. I have no idea where he's projected to go. He's ranked lower than Hall, but from what I've seen, I like him a lot more. So maybe something along that lines in the third, but no.
I
don't
think
like Hall.
so. Hall isn't Hall also really young?
No, he's a true junior. So young.
Well, when you look at age, you don't just make sure you don't just see junior, senior, because some of them like reclassify, take extra class, like they finesse their way through high school and are 17 in their freshman year. So
very young.
Yeah.
So he is young. That's right. That's what I thought.
He is exactly 1 year to the day younger than you.
See, June 13th, 2003.
There you go. He shares a birthday. You got to like him already. Come on.
So he's, I actually read a little bit on him a while ago. He's really strong, and he's a scheme fit. He can do 4-3 or 3-4. And I know the Bengals moved into a 4-3 recently, but their personnel, they can run a 3-4 if they really want to. So he's a scheme fit because he can do both. And he's a pass rusher first. He's not a big run stopper. The Bengals need pass rushers up front. So that's what he does. And look, it's easier to, I would say, and I don't know if the football nerds will get mad at me for this, but I think it's easier to put on weight and become a better run stopper than it is to teach someone 3 pass rushing moves and how to use them when they're already in the league. So he has pass rushing moves that he used at Ohio State. He didn't produce horribly. Like Riley said, I agree, not as good as it should have been. I mean, he was 92nd in terms of defensive lineman and PFF grade last year. So, I mean, he was top 20 percentile. So he was 81st, 82nd percentile, stuff like some whatever. But he's got good pass rush abilities. I think just because of age and measurements, he's probably going to go early, like earlier than what his rank is, because that's how it normally goes.
Hall? You're still talking Hall?
Yeah, like when you need a pass rusher, because there's a few positions that teams just say, oh, we could use an extra one where let's take this guy. That's basically receiver, defensive lineman, and corner. Like if we need this position, we're gonna fucking, I guess, offensive line too. But yeah, teams are gonna like his age and his measurements. I mean, the guy's a monster. Yeah. So I like him, but yeah.
All right. What about any let's get a little deeper in the draft. What about, I mean, a guy like Jaden Hicks out of Washington State? What do you think about, in terms of that at safety? I mean, that's somebody that I think has, and this is a day 3 pick. We've got that extra third rounder, by the way, too, with the the supplemental pick, which could be big. So, but just thinking outside the box, I kind of threw out DJ Turner's name last year, and everybody went, "Oh yeah," and then we ended up taking him. It's just one of those guys I think fits. Same thing with Hall; it just kind of scheme fit. and you're drafting an athlete with upside. So
He's pretty good. I remember I watched a lot of
yeah,
Pac-10 football,
no.
obviously.
Well, we get it. See, we're the benefactors because we're on the West Coast. So, I mean,
Right.
we see a lot more of what was the Pac-12 than a lot of the East Coast. So, a lot of these guys, like these, they kind of slip through the cracks because they don't get a lot of the love because they play, in a later time slot.
Yep.
But I kind of like that's a name I want to throw out there. I kind of think he's a possibility. Move Dax Hill to say corner, have him play more corner this year, and plug in another safety. Just thinking out loud here, spitballing. Like I said, it's rather than the usual. What are your thoughts there, guys? You guys have anybody like that you've been looking at, thinking about?
I don't get that deep on defense, to be honest with you. Although I will say a name that I remember watching, and I think everybody in the world watched that Colorado State game. Kamara on Colorado State looks like a day 3 guy. That dude can play football.
My guy.
Yeah.
Really?
No, I like that.
I mean, no. I just remember like the money that he won me that night. Like, guy was beast.
It's funny how you always will remember guys that either cost you money or made you money. They get lodged in your brain. Like, I always felt really good about that guy, but then you look back and you wanna hit a big parlay because of what he did. So
if I ever see that insurance salesman Clemson kicker on the street, guy that missed the 20-yarder against Florida State, it's on site, man.
There you go. So
tell you what, if we were thinking edge, the guy that I would absolutely love would be Jake's guy, Darius Robinson.
Darius Robinson's good. I think it's funny. He did an interview with my buddy for the news station a couple weeks ago, and he's like, I think I'm the best defensive player in the draft. I'm like, okay.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of a stretch. I'm gonna throw out one more name here, and I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but we had Bayron Mantos, who's a Dominican basketball player, visit.
Oh, yeah.
And he's supposed to be 6'7", 313, and he's viewed as an O-line project. But we don't have to. We know the Bengals think along these lines. So, and this isn't a second round Jackson Carman pick. This is, this would be a late day 3 pick. But he's kind of like the Bengals. People don't realize teams are limited as to how many visits they can have, how many players they can have in. You only get 30 visits. The Bengals used one of their visits on this guy. I mean, he came.
I heard he had a couple visits, and I heard a whole interesting thing about the whole international program. And the problem is it's so cutthroat in the NFL, and rosters are tight, and limitations are tight, and these guys are, by definition, they're projects.
100%.
Yeah. From other countries. Yeah. And in the NFL, you can't afford to wait more than 2, maybe 3 years on a guy like that. So there's talk of, I don't know about creating like a reserve or a taxi role for these guys, but that would be a great way to get more of them over. Like if each team was allotted one slot for a determined international player that doesn't count against the roster, and you can develop them for 2-3 years, that makes that whole program interesting and adds validity. But look, who the hell knows? We're in the time where lips are sealed and no clue. If they want to use a 6th round pick on him, sure, why not?
Yeah, no, and like I said,
Go look at Tony Gonzalez and Antonio Gates. They turned out all right. They turned out all right as basketball players.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you got to remember, this is the season of misinformation. So you have teams that will also talk players up, hoping that they'll go sooner, so somebody else drops. Or talk up their own players so they can kind of get, even though they plan on cutting them. So, by the way, did Zach Wilson get traded today? I saw something
yesterday to Denver.
Yeah.
Okay. And they basically they gave up a 7th and got a 6th round pick. I mean, so they're number 5. Wasn't he number 5 overall pick or number 2?
2.
Okay.
2.
Yeah, and they basically moved up from the 7th to the 6th round. So
I can pull up the clip that got him drafted in number 2 overall. It was that
Yeah,
stupid throw from his pro
the-
day.
yeah,
The Jets
Mhm.
never ended up. The Jets never really called that play during games. They never called. They never really ran that play.
They should have. He can throw it.
yeah.
No,
That's
no, he
what
can't.
we knew he could make.
No, no, he
So-
can't.
So no, we
I
can't.
saw him. Got
it
him
was a
drafted.
Yeah,
fluke.
in
overall.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think-
in shorts with
Shorts, no
no pad.
pads. Yeah.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jake, I think Zach Wilson going 2 overall won me $50 from you, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
Yeah. Oh, because you had Justin Fields going 2, and I said no.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one.
Good.
Let's talk wide receiver.
Okay.
How early do the Bengals go, and who are we looking at?
The Bengals will draft the T. Higgins replacement. They will draft him. This
And it could come in the 2nd round.
it could if the right guy
Most
falls.
likely 3rd. I think 3rd.
Yeah. And it would be ironic because I mean the reason we have Higgins is because he fell. Everybody expected
Yeah.
Higgins to be on the Packers, and there he was, day 2. We after Burrow, we were going to go lineman, and Higgins was there. So it would be ironic to have somebody fall. That's his.
Well, look, the 2nd round is going to be flush with wide receivers.
Yes.
We could do a whole show on wide receivers in this draft, but I think you've got Harrison Neighbors, Adunze, Brian Thomas, and probably Adonai Mitchell and Xavier Worthy in the 1st round, leaving
Right.
you with Lad McConkey, Xavier Legette, Troy Franklin. I'm not going to say Kean Coleman's name because if they draft him, I'm going to get violently ill. The names that I like in the 2nd or 3rd round is, heck, I'll take either of the Washington receivers. I like Polk more than McMillan.
Right.
But the name
Yeah.
that, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's a prediction. I don't know if I want it. Ricky Pearsall from Florida, who I think is 29 years old. After 12 years
so
in
good.
Florida. No, he's really good. And with apologies to my boy T-Mac from Arizona, Ricky Pearsall had the catch of the year last year. If you haven't seen that, go look it up. Go pull it up.
Right. Yeah.
I like Ricky Pearsall in the 3rd round of the Bengals. And it better not be Keon Coleman in the 2nd.
Right. Stay away from Florida State. So,
Yeah.
all right. Any other thoughts? Anybody want to throw out there in terms of?
Or Javon Baker. I love Javon Baker.
Jacob Cowing, slot guy.
He's 4th, 5th round. Little bear down action there. I love it.
Right.
Tiny. He's about 5'4", 110 pounds.
I'd say slot guys. Taj Washington, Anaya Smith, Jacob Cowing, all they're slot guys. Of course, they're going to be small.
I know.
You're not finding a 6'2" guy in the slot that's good and on day 3.
Malik,
But
did
yeah.
you say Malik Washington or Taj Washington?
Taj Washington, but Malik Washington's good too. I just don't know if he's.
I
Gonna be there
like
on day
Malik.
3.
His production at
Okay,
very
okay, small. Isn't Malik Washington like 5'6"?
5'8".
It's 5'6"
Dell,
in
baby.
football terms.
Tank Dell, baby.
Tank Dell's taller than 5'8".
Not much.
No.
But
Dude.
do we draft tight end?
Dude, Tank
Dude.
Dell is almost 5'11".
If we draft a tight end, it's going to be day 3. When we signed Jasecki, although I know Jasecki's going into Boyd's spot, Hudson we re-signed. And the Bengals don't value that position. We've talked about it on other shows. I know.
And besides, I would hate our annual facade or our annual game of which tight end are we going to sign for 1 year in March. It's fun.
Yes, there you go. Well, you've got your boy, Hudson got his contract. So
Yeah.
Love him. I love him.
oh,
Ben from Kansas State.
I love guys with heart, and I like scrappy guys who appreciate where they are. And Hudson checks all those boxes. So I have no problem with where we are. And I'm so sick of every single mock that Riley told me about one he saw, but we've seen them throughout the weeks of us trading up to get Bowers. Just stop it.
I will stop
gonna
being a
happen.
fan. I will.
Not going to happen.
It's not going to
I will
happen.
be out.
No.
It's not going to happen.
I'm gonna throw a tight end name at you, and this is like a round 5 or 6, and it's biased. Tanner McLaughlin. University of Arizona.
He's gone
Shut up,
before
Riley.
then. He's
What's
gone
that?
before then. I like it.
Oh, okay. You're giving him
I
my
like
bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Here come the Buckeye fans going Cade Stover. No,
Absolutely
there's
not. Absolutely
one
not.
tight end that the
Cade
Bengals
Stover's
need to
not
draft.
good.
That's not true. Cade Stover's really good. There's one tight end the Bengals should draft, and it's every team wants to draft him. He's probably going to backdoor his way into being a second-round pick. It's Sinat from K-State. This guy's a stud.
Yeah.
So versatile, can block, can catch passes, can go inline, can go outside. He's a good player.
Are you calling him this year's Sam Laporta? Because it sounds like you just described Sam Laporta.
Where did Laporta go?
I don't remember.
Second round, because we wanted we wanted to take him in the bottom of the second round. He went early to mid second round.
Sure. Fuck it.
What about
Ben
production
Sinat.
wise? What about production wise?
He didn't catch a lot of passes. They ran, but like they ran the ball a lot. I mean, his production, if you really dig, you can find a lot of production in the run blocking because that's what they did. Like,
Laporta-
they
Are
ran
you
the ball
saying
all
I'm
the time.
saying can Sinat be Sam Laporta in the NFL?
No, I don't think he's a 10 catch tight end, but the Bengals don't need that.
Okay.
Laporta
Well,
picked
Laporta went
34.
34.
Laporta
That was
34.
that. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. He went early. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
think Sinat's gonna go earlier just because he can do everything, and he's if it's worth throwing a dart at a tight end, you might as well throw one that can do everything, and he can. He was the
Yep.
sixth highest graded tight end last year per PFF. The run blocking is off the charts.
Yep.
All right. Well,
mean,
let's close on this. Why don't you guys tell me what you absolutely want to see on day one? Because that's coming up in a couple days. Personally, I think I've made my point clear. I want Murphy. I just hope he's there. And if he's not there, then I'll take Latham. And that's what I want. One of those two guys. This is provided we don't trade back and all the other variables. But I think there's enough quarterbacks, enough wide receivers, enough offensive linemen ahead of him that I think one of those two guys, I'm hoping will be there at 18. And then but that'll be a happy day one for me. Go ahead.
Agree completely. Those are my two. I will say if they're both gone, I would have no problems with a trade down. And then talk about like a Nate Wiggins, Troy Fautanu. But yeah, Murphy or Latham. I'd have no problem with Johnny Newton if that's a trade down. I have no problem with Newton at 18. I don't think he goes 18, but that's where I'm at.
All right. Jake, what do you got?
Sorry, repeat the question.
I
I heard like half. I heard like half of it.
Okay. It was basically, what do you want to see day one? What is your dream for day one?
Like I want to see them draft a first round player. Like they need to. I don't want to see them reach for a player. Like look, they're gonna get a first round player. Like they're high enough where they're gonna get a first round player. But I want to get like the roster is where it's at right now. I want to see them draft somebody that's like, oh my God, we let the Bengals get that guy. Like that's what I want. Like I want people to say, wow, the league let the Bengals get that guy. Like I don't want to see them reach for a position of need where they might fuck up his development. I want the league to be scared of a player that we drafted, like what they are with the Ravens every fucking year on Thursday night.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what Devin and I were saying, because Murphy and Latham right there, those are day one starters. So
yeah, I think if the Bengals get Murphy, the league will be like, damn, like they got some Tigers on that line, they got some Longhorns on that offensive line. Scary.
yeah.
I mean,
Or defensive line, sorry.
I'd absolutely love if Fashanu or Fatanu, I don't know if that's how you say their name. If one of them somehow falls and we get them at 18, or we trade up 2 or 3 picks to grab them a couple earlier, that's the only chance I want of us trading up. Everything else is either trade back or pick at 18. But if we can get one of those guys at like 15 or even at 18, happy day one. But I also am really high on Latham. If Latham's there at 18 and those guys aren't, also a happy day.
Yeah.
I think we go O-line though.
So my biggest fear is the year we didn't get Cedric Ellis and we got Keith Rivers. Everybody on the planet knew we were going to take Cedric Ellis, and New Orleans trades right ahead of us. Same thing with Ragnow. Detroit did that to us. So, it's like if Murphy's there, you might have a team jump us knowing we want Murphy at 18. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that may require us to give up a pick if we're going to move up and get him. So we'll see. But
I got one more name for you.
cool.
This is my can't leave. This is the fantasy football, baseball term everybody uses. Can't leave the draft without this guy. I'm going to say his name. I know Jake's going to know him. I'm guessing Riley's going to know him. I'm not going to say why. And Mark, my hunch is you're going to know him, but this is a round 6 guy. Torrey Taylor, arguably the best player in college football.
The punter?
Yeah, got to have him. The Iowa punter. My only concern is that there's a lot of mileage on that leg.
Yeah, but it's
Come
a
on,
leg.
round 6, the Iowa punter. The guy's a freaking Greek god.
All I know is our punting definitely needs help. There's
Thank
no
you.
question. No
That's
question.
it. Look, we're about to give Evan McPherson an extension, and he's going to start making $6 million a year in the next year.
So, no. And that's why you draft a kicker. So,
Right.
if he's there, you know what? I have no problem with stuff like that in day 3. I have no problem with that at all.
Don't we? We have 9 total. Don't we have 3
10,
6s
10.
and 2 3s?
9 plus the extra supplemental in
Where are
round
the
3.
other 3 extra? All in the 6th round, or like
know that
6th
I
and
just
7th?
Potts today just said we have 10 picks.
Let's see. Now I'm gonna look it up real quick.
I just
I'm
watched
getting
the
different
presser
answers.
today. He said we have 10 picks. We're really excited about him. Is how he opened up the press conference.
It is 10. What does it? I know there's.
We
At
have 2 in the
least-
7 and 2 in the 6, and 2 in the 3rd.
Okay. Yep.
That 3rd pick could be big. I'm really hoping we make some serious hay with that. Day 1 and day 2 guys need to crack the starting roster. There's just no way around it. And so,
Yep.
and I think that extra pick in the 3rd round is going to be big. Even
Yep.
if we wind up using it to move up. So,
Yeah.
And
One other name, and I've heard this in mocks. It just makes sense. Bengals are going to draft a running back day 3, early day 3. Audric Estime. Guy got hammered for his combine 40. Had a better 40 at his pro day. We all know pro day 40s can be a little manipulated. The guy's a bruiser. He's a great compliment to Chase Brown. If Zach Moss isn't staying, it could be a nice compliment in 2025. Audric Estime, round 4. I'd love it.
All right.
4 or 5.
There you go. There you go. All right. You know what? I was remiss because we've taken some time off, and I didn't even have Jake plug his podcast or tell you guys you need to subscribe. So as you can see, this is a show by fans, for fans. All we ask is you support it. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you know when we put up our videos. And then Jake does some amazing podcasts. James Madison. Yes. The James Madison pick in the March Madness tournament. What a great pick. So, you know what? Jake does some great podcasts, especially if you're gamblers like we are. So, Jake, tell them where they can find your stuff.
Well, I wish you didn't bring that
Mexico?
up because I had the worst tournament ever. So, it's all right.
Yeah, but that one was a winner.
Well, I'm glad that you only tell that one, or if you tell if anyone tell the picks I did for my Bleacher Report show, I hope you still have a home.
Well, the Arizona upset should have happened. They completely collapsed at the end of that game. So the first round Arizona upset should have happened. I can't remember.
The Nevada loss will haunt me for the end of time. Well, you were gonna lose to Nevada, buddy.
Yeah, if Nevada won their game 1, then they play Arizona, and he had picked them to beat you guys, but
all I know is Arizona was in the Sweet 16 and Nevada was home on Thursday night, and Jake had New Mexico in the Final Four. What else?
They had a 17-point lead with 4 minutes.
I would like to say this real quick that there have been 4 teams that have played in the national championship game in the last 2 years. I have picked 3 of them correct. So and the last 2 national champions. So
You're the one that said you made people homeless. I was just adding to it.
I did. Anyways, Jake Circus podcast on Spotify and YouTube is on a hiatus until August. We'll have new headquarters in August, so that'll be fun when we get back into football season. But if for now, follow me on Twitter. I'll tweet every now and then about baseball picks. We're off to a good start there, so sweet. Yeah.
Riley, give them your email too, because I know you're gonna start tweeting out different sports things. So
I've not touched it all semester. The semester I've been in season has been crazy, but at sports ball with 3 L's at the end. Gonna try and get back into it. Also, gonna start writing in the next couple weeks for a company called fanfunded.io. It's a sports betting site as well. Writing sports highlights and stuff there. So I'll start posting about that soon.
excellent. All right. So we will be back with the draft recap for sure. Maybe, I don't know what your guys' schedule is. If something crazy happens day one, we can jump in at the end of the round, but we'll just play it by ear. Right now, we're only planning on a draft recap next week. So like I said, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you know when we put up stuff, and just please support the channel. So any other parting comments before we go? We're all good. All right.
Don't trade T. Higgins on Thursday night.
Yeah, don't trade T. Higgins on Thursday night. And Murphy, please. Murphy or Latham, that's what I want.
For number 3, T for 3.
T for 3.
Or 4. Or 4.
Explain.
Marvin and Malik? You can hang up on me now. You can mute me. Can you want to force mute me?
No, I'm not going to force mute you. There's enough hate in the world already. So,
by the way, Chris Sims mocked Roma Dunze to us, showing how good Chris Sims is at this, because he's
Chris Sims is really good. He's right all the time.
Yeah.
That's you know what? It's only like the 4th worst nepotism hire in the last 10 years in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, we can do a show on nepotism hires. So, but all right. Well, please subscribe. If you don't subscribe, we will be back with a draft recap. And let's all hope, like I said, I'm Murphy or Latham. That's what I'm hoping for. And we'll go from there. I'm going to say, hoo day, everybody. Take care.
Good day.
Good day.
Hoo day.